Hello everybody, I'm Krasi, I'm sidereal astrologer, and I will talk about a very important transit of Mars. Mars is a fast planet, but this transit is very important because Mars is moving into Pisces on the 23rd of December, and he will be staying transiting in Pisces until 7th of February 2019. Why I consider this transit important and why I thought of sharing my analysis on this transit with you, it is because the vernal equinox for our era is taking place in Pisces. It's like the sign Pisces is being illuminated by the sun, by the vernal equinox, and with this, Pisces is a sign which is being emphasized for us. So, on the 23rd of December, Mars is moving into Pisces. Why this is also so important? It is because Mars and Jupiter are exchanging places, because at this particular time, Jupiter will be also very powerful, just visible on the sky. I think that on the 16th of December, Jupiter is having his heliacal birth, becoming symbolically alive for us. And Jupiter rules Pisces together with Neptunus, of course, and Mars rules Scorpio together with Pluto. What is happening? They exchange places, and this is called mutual reception, and it's even more powerful than just a normal aspect in astrology. So, in two ways, this movement from change of zodiacal signs of Mars is very important. So, what to what do we know about Pisces, the constellation? In ancient Mesopotamia, Pisces was ruled by Nanshe. It is a goddess which is um, associated with empathy. She was a magical a goddess, and she was the one who would be responsible for the dreams. She would be the one who would analyze dreams, and she was very much associated with empathy. Marduk, Jupiter, the divinity which saved humanity from the chaos by defeating the chaos dragon Tiamat, is also ruling Pisces. So here we're talking about empathy, spirituality, we're talking about everything but not materialism. So basically, this is what is Pisces about. So what is happening when the fiery Mars, Nergal, the divinity which rules the underworld, the divinity which was considered in ancient Mesopotamia worse than Saturn because of its unpredictability, what is happening when the fiery Mars is moving into Pisces? Well, we expect the influences of Pisces to be such that Mars will have mission more into spirituality, empathy, uh, philosophical studies and religion, and much less will be about fire, about materialism. At the same time, Jupiter is in the sign of Scorpio, and you can see my analysis on what Jupiter is doing in Scorpio, because Jupiter in Scorpio is not feeling very comfortably. Jupiter in Scorpio, first of all, Jupiter is a diurnal planet, and Scorpio is nocturnal, female zodiacal sign, which is not exactly the most comfortable place for Jupiter. So Jupiter in Scorpio will experience the depth, the deepest of the secret sciences, of the secretive esoteric studies, of religion. It will have to do with inheritance and so on and so on. And when there will be a mutual aspect between Jupiter and Mars, there will be a lot about this spirituality, philosophical studies. It will be also a lot about fertility, because the two signs: female, nocturnal, Scorpio, and also Pisces are very fertile in terms of children. So this will be a good timing for those who want to have children. It will be really very much about bringing children fertility. So it will also be very much about receiving inheritance and anything that has to do with the gifts that Jupiter can give in relation to the depth of Scorpio. So we talk so much about spiritual sciences, so much about, and so little about money and finances. And this is also what is going to happen in December or until 7th of February, while Mars will be in Pisces. About the markets, what we can say is that if you remember this summer, especially in June, July, August, Mars was the main player in relation to markets and finances and all these fires that happened and so many desperate events which happened on mundane and also on individual level. So if you remember, the markets were falling, and this is because Mars was together with Ketu. Mars is not anymore with Ketu. Mars took place in eclipse, and also Mars was in such position that he was extremely bright. His magnitude was so bright that visibly you could see him as a red shining star, which was really shining so intensely that it was just visible all through the night. When the star is that shiny with such high magnitude, the influences are much higher. And this was also happening throughout the night. So all night you could see Mars shining on the sky. What is happening now? And also the declination of Mars was such, the minimal declination of Mars was such that the markets were influenced in a very negative way. Slowly, since I think it was since September already, Mars is gaining strength. And what is happening is that he's not that powerfully influential as he was. First, because his brightness, his magnitude is nearly zero, which is not that high, though in the summer it was the highest of his magnitudes from my point of view. In the northern hemisphere was minus 2.8, which was very, very visible for a star. So at this point, he was powerfully influencing us. Now, his powers are a little bit softened, not that visible, and also his declination is not so minimal. So in this sense, he will not be playing such important role on the markets. He will also not be playing such negative points in our private lives. He will not be reason until he's in Pisces for all these very, very negative events like the fires that we had in Greece, in Australia, all over the world. What we can see as a negative consequences while Mars is in Pisces is that we can have these secretive violence events that could be caused. Of course, depends on the chart of the countries, depends on the personal charts of each one of us, what we will be witnessing. But in general, I see the influences of Mars until 7th of February, until he's in Pisces, much softened than while he was in Capricorn with Ketu. So he will be sort of confused a little bit because his nature is fiery, diurnal, his daily planet, and he's very masculine, and suddenly he's going into the sign which is nocturnal, night sign, feminine, and very much about fertility. So yes, fertility is the word, and also it will be less about violence unless we talk about secretive actions, which also have to do with the aspect of Jupiter in Scorpio. So secretive violence actions are possible Of course, this is a very negative sort of event, but the general trend of Mars in Pisces I don't see as very bad, as very sharp, and absolutely it cannot be compared with the events that we witnessed while Mars was in Capricorn with Ketu visible. His declination was very negative, his magnitude was very sharp. So all this is not the case now. In terms of his brightness, let me tell you also that he will be visible in the night sky. I'm talking about the northern hemisphere. He will be visible in the early hours of the evening. He won't be visible through the whole night. And with this, his influences are also a little bit dim. What will be happening on the 7th of February, of course, is something very interesting, because then he is entering Aries, his own place, the place that he rules. And this will be very interesting, for which I will make with pleasure a separate analysis. But while he's in Pisces, let's see how he may influence the religious activities of people. And some of them may have this secretive appearance, secretive manifestations. So if you would be having Sun in Pisces, Moon in Pisces, or midheaven there, or descendant, ascendant, or the same is happening in Virgo, you will be experiencing this quite interestingly. You may have interesting ambition towards studies, towards religion, towards spiritual activities. Of course, let's not forget that Mars will be receiving in the middle of this period, towards mid-January, there will be exact almost a square with Saturn. And then we can expect some activation of the negative events associated with Mars. So yes, the Sun, people who have Sun, Moon, Ascendant, Midheaven, Descendant in Sagittarius or in Gemini also need to take into consideration this Martian transit, and be especially careful and not to get into risky situations around mid-January. But I'm making detailed analysis, monthly analysis, day by day, so you can follow them up. They may be useful for you. And also very soon, towards the end of December, I will place on YouTube my complete analysis on 2019 market trends, mundane events and everything. So I'm preparing such analysis, so you will see details around the main transits and how they will influence us. But in general, I don't see this as a negative event. It is a bit complex because the nature of Mars is a bit, he's taken by surprise in Pisces, and especially the mid of January, we have to be a bit cautious. But for the rest, the markets will not be as volatile as they were in the summer. They will be sort of in a sleeping trend. And all this is happening because, remember, Nanshe is ruling Pisces, the goddess of empathy, the goddess of sleep, the goddess which is analyzing our dreams. So he will be dreamy, he will be sleepy there. And I hope this will be also the trend for avoiding negative events. So with this, I'm completing my analysis, and expect my complete analysis from ancient Babylonian point of view of the whole year 2019. Thank you.